Okay, so now I will explain the visual pathway so that you will be able to understand the lesions when I am talking. So this is the nasal field of vision. This is the, what is this? This is the temporal field of vision. This is the nasal field of vision. This is the temporal field of vision. Now the nasal field of vision falls on the temporal side of the eye. Temporal field of vision falls on the nasal side of the eye. And then the nasal fibers, they decussate. Only the nasal fibers. And the temporal fibers, they go on the same side. Okay. Now they have reached the lateral geniculate body. This is the lateral geniculate body. Now they have reached the lateral geniculate body. Now from here the geniculocalcarean fibers, they arise. Okay, geniculocalcarean fibers arise. But what happens is that, as you can see, the geniculocalcarean fibers or nasal fibers are passing straight. But this temporal fibers which are coming, they are forming a loop. This loop is called Mayer's loop. Mayer's loop. Okay, and from the nasal fibers you can see small fibers, they are going to a nuclei. This is called pretectal nucleus. Okay, pretectal nucleus, and this is called Edinger-Westphal nucleus. So they are going there. You learn in accommodation reflex that through this pathway the fibers go to the pretectal nucleus, to the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, to the short ciliary nucleus, and they cause constriction and constriction of pupil, convergence of eyeball, and the anterior curvature. 3C, you will learn 3C about that in accommodation reflex. You will learn, it is an important question, university question for both in case of anatomy and as well as in case of physiology. Okay, so you will be learning that. If you want, I'll teach that also. Okay, I'll teach that in one of the videos, a small video. So yeah, and from there they go to the upper lip and the lower lip of calcarean sulcus, respectively, of the occipital cortex, where you can see the visual field area, cortex 17, Brodmann's number 17 and 18, visual cortex area. Okay, yeah, the accusation occurs, and then is there something that I have missed? Okay, so yeah, about the lesions. So if a lesion occurs here, okay, if a lesion occurs here, then this whole eye, this whole visual field of vision is lost. So there is blindness on the suppose this is the right eye, this is the left eye, so there is blindness over the left eye, complete blindness of the left eye. Okay, suppose there is a lesion in the optic chiasma here. Okay, so here what happens, here occurs the decussation of nasal fibers. So nasal fibers decussation. But what does nasal fibers get? They get the field of vision from they get the temporal field of vision, right? Nasal fibers are getting affected, but from what vision they are getting? They are getting the visual field from the temporal side. So this forms the bitemporal. Okay, this is complete blindness. Okay, left complete blindness of the eye, and this is bitemporal hemianopia. You might have heard about this in acromegaly and all, pituitary gland, something like that. Yeah, and then the third is, first is here, second is here, third is here. First, second, third. What does third causes? So only temporal fibers are affected, but temporal fibers, which vision? Nasal field of vision. Okay, nasal field of vision, and this is called unilateral nasal hemianopia. Unilateral nasal hemianopia. Unilateral nasal hemianopia. Unilateral and nasal hemianopia. And then comes the fourth one is over here. Fourth one is over here. Fourth one is over here. So what happens to the fourth one? Here the nasal fibers of the opposite eye are affected and the temporal fibers of the same eye are affected. So you will draw like this. Temporal fibers of the same eye, that is the nasal field of vision of this side, is affected, and the nasal fibers of this eye is affected. That means the temporal field of vision of that eye is affected, right? You can trace like that and see. So what is this? This is to the right side. So this is right homonymous hemianopia. Right homonymous hemianopia. The rest I will be doing in the next video.